everybody. So let's do this. Everyone, you can just stand. Come on, quickly. Let's just stand. Come on, quickly, stand. And a huge round of applause. Come on, so I need to know everybody, the energy level in the room. We can really go loud on this. I must say, we all had a great lunch and networking. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Kindly be seated. Moving ahead to our next panel discussion, the topic being Telecom and Fintech, the future of digital finance. And ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite our moderator on stage, none other than Mr. Ajay Kashikar from FinBrain. A huge round of applause for him, please. Requesting our esteemed panelists to join him on stage. Rajesh Reno from Globe Teleservices. I can't hear the claps, come on. Mark Harvey from Secura ID. And Umang Singh Chauhan from MPCI. Ladies and gentlemen, a huge round of applause. Ajay, over to you.
Hello. Good afternoon. There is always a problem when we start a session post-lunch. I see a pin drop silence, though she asked to clap, and we told her to ask people to do carry on some exercise. I think she avoided. She is with you, not with us. So this is a very interesting topic. We've been listening on to the various areas of the activities today, which since morning. To me, the quick introductions, I would just like to say a few things first, and then we will move on to the question and answer session. There was some Japanese, the delegates with whom I attended some time back. When I was taking them to the various places in India, the common question they ask me, and we have to take in a very lighter mode, they say that we don't find the toilet easily, but we find everywhere the person is talking on the phone. That's how the telecom is getting more popular than whatever the infrastructure need what we have. The second is the common experience as a user. I'm not sure if you travel to the rural areas in India, there is a very common term, come under the tower, tower ke niche aa jao. You know what does that mean is tower ke niche aa jao? You don't get a signal, so you need to be near to the tower. That's the signaling tower where the range will be good. This is how people look at, and they establish their colloquial language for understanding and communicating. Now, to me, the digital finance future, if I look at it, today's digital age, customer demands personalization, and that's what we are hearing since morning, and with the exclusive services. The instant access to their financial information, then the essential to keep up with the ever-evolving tech landscape to remain competitive. And the next is the fastest communication. Now on to the telecom side, data consumption is going up, and I guess it's a triple due to the digital and video. 5G network footprint is coming up and is changing the landscape. The India projection is to reach US $275 billion with the CAGR, that's a compound annual growth rate, is 9.2%. With this two futuristic in two segments, The majority industry trends observed are the coordination pressure, increased connectivity demand, rising the operating cost or rising the operation cost in connectivity and connected services, accelerate the innovation in telecom and fintech. So who is reducing time to market? And how the loan offering automation solutions, including the digital contactless payments, is happening. Let's say we have a good panelist today. They are expert in their own areas, and I wish and hand over to them to introduce each of them. Can start from Mark.
Thank you, and it's good to see everybody awake. And quick show of hands, who enjoyed lunch? That was my check just to see who's awake, so thank you very much. But no, I'd like to thank MEF and GTS for inviting me here today, and it's a pleasure to be on a panel with these esteemed guests as well. So my name's Mark Harvey, and I'm the founder and CEO of Secura ID, and we're the world's #1 when it comes to mobile identity services around the globe. Thank you.
Great. So, Mark, you showed that most of the people are actually awake and did enjoy lunch. So, well, my name is Renu Rajesh. I have around 25 years of experience both in the telecom and some bit in the fintech side. And very happy to be here. Look forward to an engaging discussion.
Hi, good evening. This is Umang Chauhan. I work with NPCI, and NPCI, like you all know, that it's a retail hub for all retail payments in India. And me and my team, we manage all merchant relationships for NPCI. So we manage a set of, say, 100, 150 large B2C organizations, and we try and understand their payment-related challenges, provide them solutions. Thank you.
So with this good introduction, let's start the first questions. The next technology in finance is generative AI, machine learning, robotics, or blockchain, leading to the use greatly. Do you all agree? Over to you.
Okay, so it looks like I'm going first on this one. Look, I think, you know, sitting here today, the terms ML, AI, it's common language right now. So I think we'd be amiss to think that it's not going to be used. As a company, we're starting to deploy our own types of services already in this area. But I think, for me, the scary thing is that it's not just us as the good guys in the room that have access. It's the bad actors that also have access to this type of technology. And I think as a group of people, we've got to collaborate and come together and ensure that we're keeping these bad actors out of using the type of tech that's available today. But very much so, AI, ML is something that is in part of our everyday lives today.
Okay. Renu.
Well, I agree with Mark. Artificial intelligence, machine learning, these are no longer, buzzwords. These are no longer something to, catch somebody's attention. It's very much there. So naturally, it is also permeating into fintech side of it, as well as our daily lives. Now, what is the scary part is that there is a lot of data that is generated about us. And why I say scary is the kind of legislation, the kind of frameworks, they're just catching up. So I am a great believer in human innovation, but human innovation gone in the wrong direction can also potentially damage a lot. And that's where we have to be very, very careful. For example, NPCI is a great enabler. However, it's like a knife used in different ways. It can cut either the wielder or the vegetable. So the technologies that we are talking about are very much there. They are going to be used. It's inevitable. Generative AI, in my opinion, is just a starting point. We are fast approaching what I call the tipping point in general intelligence. And that is going to be a bigger game changer than the large transformer models that we see. Transformer models are very great, for generating text, predicting the flow of conversations, but when it comes to financial aspects, there is a lot different application that can be done. Of course, blockchain is a great tool. It provides great transparency as well, and it has the potential to reduce fraud that has been talked about throughout the day. And I believe these technologies are transformative. So yes, they're all going to be there.
Yeah, thank you. So the next question is how the data governance and the regulatory compliance will play a role in telecom as well as in fintech.
That's a great question, actually. See, I just mentioned that we are generating a lot of data, and probably it's a scary amount of data. Jokes go around that Google and Meta know more about you than your own wife. And but what is also happening is that over a period of time, we are seeing across the world, one by one, in each country, a lot of frameworks are coming up. India has its own version of data protection bill. It's just come out, it's trying to mature the ecosystem. The law is always there. The enabling technologies are definitely being created and applied. But as I mentioned, technology has leapfrogged too fast. There's a lot of data sitting with both telcos as well as sometimes fintechs as well. Because if you don't realize, you're using a lot of apps. These apps are monitoring every aspect of yours. When are you waking? Are you browsing something in the middle of the night? What are you browsing? The telco knows your location. Sometimes these apps also know. That's a lot of data about you as an individual, as a consumer. This data is useful in determining whether you qualify for a certain type of lending product, just an example, or what kind of transactions you're doing. All of this combined is revolutionizing the way we know somebody. And when aggregated at large scale, these can give a lot of insights, and it's a great tool for example, e-commerce is now exploding. But in e-commerce, what is a consumption pattern? How do you provide, let's say, digital line of credit to somebody? Now you no longer need to depend on traditional data sources. These all additional data sources are a great tool to leverage that. So I believe that this data and governance has to be, in tandem with the amount of data that we are, aggregating. Because for the first time in the history of humanity, we have tremendous amount of low-level data available about each individual.
So you feel that this is a need and this is required very much into the...
Absolutely required, because the companies who are holding this data have tremendous power.
Yeah, but this is from the fintech side. Mark, what do you feel about the telecom side?
So, look, I think regulatory and compliance is definitely required. Okay. Clearly, I'm not from India, and I travel all over the world with what we do at Secura. I think where we've got to be very, very careful is remember that compliance governance is okay, but it's got to be seen as a global thing. Okay. The one thing that we all carry, which is ubiquitous, is our mobile phone and a passport.
Okay.
Right? They're the two things that are accepted anywhere in the world. And I think when it comes to borrowing money, fintech, anything like that, regulators must talk to other regulators across border. Right. So when people are moving around, the consumer doesn't get affected.
Yeah, so we accept, we need to. Now the next question related to that is about cybersecurity. What is your call on the cybersecurity and how it is going to play a role into the telecom sector?
So cybersecurity is definitely here to stay. I think everybody in the room, or I'd like to think everybody in the room would agree that we are chasing the fraudsters, right? We're not ahead of the fraudsters. We're chasing them.
So you mean to say that like a fintech, they are more into the advance from the cybersecurity side, and whereas the telecom is not geared up with the complete cybersecurity models?
So I think there's a balance between the previous question around governance and the cybersecurity side.
Yeah, that's what I mean to say, because once you agree, and that's what I asked the question first, once you agree about it, and then what the measures is going to take place, and that's where we need your expertise.
Okay, so yeah, look, in the telco world where cyber's concerned, it's got to advance, and I think it's got to advance quicker. I think when we had Sachin here from Geo earlier, I think they're leading the way where cyber is concerned. And I think it's important that other operators, not just here in India, but globally again, collaborate on their learnings and share best practice where cyber is concerned. Because again, it's a global problem, not just a local regional problem.
Okay, great. So now the next question, I think we can start with Umang, and he's keeping quiet because of you didn't allow him to speak, I guess. I'm saying on a lighter mode, but this question is specifically starting from you what is your experience into the digital lending platform by Telecom and Fintech?
Thank you. So we spoke about data protection and other things. I would like to highlight that India has fortunately very, very strong regulatory as far as data protection is concerned. The latest DPDP Act, which was enacted as a law last year, is now in motion. And at NPCI also, we have loads of data which we process, transaction data, which is very, very sensitive. And we are cognizant of the fact that this is customer data, and we utilize it only for the purpose which is what it is meant for. And as far as the question goes, the partnership between Fintech and Telecom, there's a beautiful example in ecosystem which is between Airtel and Axis Bank, wherein Airtel has tied up with Axis for issuing credit cards, and Axis has a large base of users which are new to credit customers. Okay, they are in interiors of India, they are in actual Bharat, tier 3, tier 4 towns. They don't have a credit history. But Airtel and Axis together have built models, credit underwriting models, where basis their usage pattern of data, basis their other data usage and billing details. They have built models where they are issuing credit cards to new to credit people. So people like you and me, we staying in metros, we get 8 to 10 calls every day for some kind of loan or something. We don't need that. But the one who needs, they don't get those calls. So fintechs and telecom, I think, should work hand in hand. Fintechs should leverage on the large network which telecom has. KYC, they are the KYC customers. So a lot of KYC has already been done, and it will be easier for banks to bank on that KYC and ride on that KYC and issue cards and issue digital lending. So I think they are doing a good job as far as digital lending is concerned. And in UPI also, we have brought in 2 revolutionary products for bringing customers into digital lending piece. One is linking of RuPay credit card to UPI. So any RuPay credit card can now be linked to UPI. You can use any UPI app and link your RuPay credit card and make transactions, just like so far you have been linking your saving bank account. So using this platform, a lot of fintechs are now issuing cards on the fly. So if you scan any QR, so you will see these models coming up in future. You scan any QR, and if it is a big ticket purchase, they will understand, they will pull up your CIBIL immediately and will offer you a virtual card immediately on the fly. You apply for that card and make that purchase immediately through that credit card. So that's the kind of models fintechs are working on. The other product which we have brought in is credit line. So credit card is still a product which is like a costly affair for a bank. So that's why you don't see cards with a smaller limit in India, less than 50,000 or less than 25,000, because to acquire a customer and to maintain the customer life cycle, it's costly for a bank. So and that is where credit line will we believe will help a lot, wherein a customer will get a credit line of as small as 2,000 rupees or 3,000 rupees, who doesn't have a civil history, but bank can at least take a call on that for 5,000 rupees, 3,000 rupees, and that's how a person will start building their credit history and can go for higher limits and bigger size loans. So these are some revolutionary products which we are working on. We have a lot of fintechs which are utilizing this, and you will see a lot of use cases in the market very soon.
Great. So, my statement is now, the mindset is getting shifted. The telecom is becoming accelerator for digital banking and playing an active role. This active role is nothing but generating the revenue, and along with the revenue, the brand identity. So that's a gain from the telecom to the fintech. Now, both the verticals is getting benefited because of increase into their customer base.
Sure.
Ultimately, it's leading revenue to both the verticals. And this has been a Africa model. In Africa, it has been used initially and it is getting popular. And it may not be started in India yet, but eventually in few years we can look at in India. I'm not sure about the Europe or some other places how it is taking place. But do you think this is the right in terms of what my statement is?
So, see, I think if you're talking about the time, yes, I think this is the right time for fintechs, banks, and telecom to work hand in hand and leverage each other's capabilities. Banks have large bases which are untapped. There is a lot of potential which needs to be unlocked. Fintechs are there who can go out in market, onboard these customers with their high-tech solutions. And telecom can provide the basic infrastructure where they have a customer who is onboarded, who has a history, created some history with them. So if these partners, ecosystem partners work together and leverage each other's capabilities, I think there is a lot of potential there.
Yeah.
So just adding to that, actually, I think it's great the telcos are coming through and showing that they can provide fintech services. If you think, everybody now, there's actually more mobile phones on the planet than there are toothbrushes. So there's another little fact for you, which is crazy. But we carry them, so therefore, inherently, we trust, right? And a couple of the people have said on previous panels today that they've used that word trust. And I think when you're talking about, a financial transaction, as a consumer, you need to trust. And that's the one thing that the telcos have the ability to do, is deliver trust to the consumer. Every time we want to make a phone call, we can. We send, receive texts. It just works. So to Umang's point, the infrastructure is already there. I think the challenge they're going to have is they're big businesses. The fintechs are agile. 20, 30, 40, 50 people, maybe 100 people. So they've got the ability to be more innovative. And that's where I think, again, that collaboration is really key.
So it's all about creating consumer experience. Like I gave an example of if you scan a QR code and you get a credit line or a credit card immediately. So all these entities will have to work together to create a wow consumer experience of getting that customer onto a digital credit bandwagon. We are also working at NPCI on a digital payment score. So just like you have your financials and other elements for building a credit model, we have also come up with a digital payment score. So whatever digital transactions you do in a day, in a month, those data points are collected, and basis that we will give a digital payment score which the banks and other credit entities can utilize and provide digital credit to end users.
I think that's the genesis of another way of how access to credit is being given. There are underserved communities across the world, especially in India as well. So telecom and fintech together have the capacity to not only give access to credit to known entities or known people who are known to bank, but to those especially who don't have a banking experience or banking exposure. And that's a great enabler. It's a social transformation as well that goes along
you
with
rightly said. My next question is related to that. So with this, the answers, do you think that the collaboration for the digital lending platform by the telecom and the fintech?
So fintechs have this amazing capability to understand the needs of people who want credit. So it's a myth that credit is only required or given to people who have access to some history. There are a lot of hidden data that is there. In fact, I'm aware of a lot of startups in Indian ecosystem who are actually utilizing a lot of alternate data, and that alternate data is not telecom data. It's social data. And like Umang mentioned about payment history, that forms one part of the credit model. Now, having said that, if you look at all of this combined, together with the trust in the infrastructure that a telecom provides, it's a great social change that is also happening. Now, that in itself has tremendous impact on the way these two industries will grow. Driving utilization and driving adjacencies around the available information that is there. That's what I believe is what is the revolutionary part of this.
What is your opinion about that?
So just to give you some numbers on the potential which is there, we have a population of 1.4 billion. Out of that, there are 1 billion debit cards in India. So financial inclusion, we are almost there. I can say that. A lot needs to be done. But 1 billion debit cards mean 1 billion people have bank accounts now. Now, 600 and out of that, 650 million have mobile phones, which are smartphones. 300 million have UPI. So UPI still has double growth potential. So out of 650 million mobiles, only 300 million UPI users are there. We have only reached half of the population. And out of that, only 100 million credit cards in India. So you can see the gap over here. And that's where these telecom and fintech players should come together to bridge this gap. Only 5 to 7% of people who want credit or who are eligible for credit actually have credit cards in India. So
very good. Yeah, good.
I really agreeing with these guys. I think, I know we've got friends from credit bureaus sat in the room, so I'll be very gentle what I say, but I think there's too many people with what's classified as thin credit files, and they're the ones that probably need access to finance more than most, right? So it's about inclusivity for all, and I think, if working with the telcos, with the fintechs and the credit bureaus to give them real-time data. And let's not forget, a few people have said on previous panels that telcos can see what sites we're browsing, what we're doing, where we are, and so on and so forth. All of this data used in the right way can actually support the consumer in their lending. So, the key message from me, and I say this on a lot of panels, is can we just please collaborate? And it's okay to talk and share. I know we're in business and we're all here to hopefully earn a bit of money, but there's plenty of money to go around. But let's not take our eye off the prize, which is supporting the consumers.
Yeah, I take your point of the collaboration. Now my question to the both of them, who is from fintech, that how do you help in credit assessment and lending to the telecom users who are a prepaid customer?
So I think prepaid forms almost 90 to 93% of telecom base, and they are the ones who are likely to even go out. So even telecom companies put lot of efforts for retention of prepaid base, but and they are the ones actually who are new to credit, who are still wanting some credit. Postpaid customers, we believe that yes, they might have a credit card or some form of credit. So fintechs, we have some models developing at NPCI also, wherein these fintechs are collaborating with telecom players, and basis their data, basis some inputs from the DPS and other things, they are building models wherein for small ticket size FDs, like even for a small FD of 1,000 rupees, a person will be able to get a credit card of say limit of 800 to 900 rupees.
Oh,
so
great.
that's how that is the first step we are taking to bring people onto digital credit bandwagon. So the
That will
smallest
really
ticket size
change
is
the dynamics
1,000
in
rupees.
Indian
You can,
market.
yeah, you can
Yeah.
create a fixed deposit of 1,000 rupees and get a FD of FD of 1,000 rupees and get a credit card of 800 rupees limit, and you start from there. So this is
Very
not
good.
only for that, but also for teenagers. We are coming up with programs wherein college goers, they can start using credit card right from the college. And
Oh, great. So now, yeah, you want to
No,
say
I
something?
think it's a revolution happening, and it's like marrying of two worlds. Microfinance, which has been there as a, like I keep coming back to the social enabler part of it, but microfinance reach is quite vast.
Yeah.
And microfinance with fintech, with the telcos together is something that is, in my view, exploding. Because the examples of microfinance doesn't need to be a working capital loan for a day
Right.
jobber, but it can be in various ways. So I see that as a great next wave that is coming.
Okay. So with 5G, will we be looking for the term which is commonly used as a neo-banking, but in Indian context it is more onto the digital banking unit and virtual banking, which is assisted by the virtual tailor and advisors. So how it is going to happen, what you think about it and what you foresee about it?
so digital banking units, we refrain from using the word neo banking, but digital banking units, just for the uninitiated, it's maybe it's a fintech who goes out in the market, onboards a user for a saving or a current account for a bank. So a fintech tying up with a bank and reaches out and gets CASA base, builds CASA base for the bank. So for the customer, the fintech is the front end, and all the services are provided through the app. This not only helps banks to reach out and get more customers, helps in financial inclusion, but also help the customer to get banking services at his doorstep or maybe through an app. So these kind of models have flourished. There are a lot of fintechs doing this. Jupiter is one example. There are others where you open a bank account, you get a credit card, you get a credit line in future. There are a lot of things which you can take only through an app. You never visit the branch. You don't see that bank person ever in your lifetime, but you get all the banking services within your app. And this partnership is going great. We have been working with a lot of fintechs to come up with this arrangement, which we called a digital banking unit.
Okay, great. Now I move to the next question. I think we are running out of time, but allow me for one question, which is very important. Who is accelerating telecom or fintech? Who is accelerating telecom or fintech? Does telecom control fintech? Or will they go hand in hand?
Do you want a contentious answer or the real one? Look, I think you take mobile operators in different parts of the world, and the answer would be different. We've had Geo up here today. I think they're accelerating and blasting the market. You've got other operators here now, Airtel, etc., doing exactly the same thing. So I'm clearly a supporter of the telco side, and watch out, they're chasing the fintech tails.
Great.
So I would like to call it, it's like a husband and wife relationship where husband thinks that he is the head of the family, he runs the things, but we know who controls whom. So now you decide who's husband and who's wife in fintech and telecom.
But divorce is expensive, right?
Very interesting analogy is being given. I believe that telcos are the backbone. So them accelerating is only going to give more access to the fintech side. So I believe both are necessary, but the infrastructure is necessary first, in my view. So I would lean towards more telcos because if I give the analogy of, let's say, highways and cars, you need to have highways first before cars can run.
Yeah, so what I summarized with the last question is that you all are agree, but there is some if and but which is not known, which need to be find out by all of the people who are expert into the fintech and telecom here, and we are just an representation to open the discussion. To summarize, I say that we should look for a future for the telecom or fintech with it can be coined as a fintel or telfin. Answer not known. Leave it to all of you. Thank you very much for the time given to us, and hopefully you all enjoyed and hope you are not slept. Thank you so much.